Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the SpaZcast podcast. My name's Z. I'm surrounded by my friends here that are complete and total nerds. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Garrett.
I'm Bob.
I'm Kay.
I am Tony.
And like I said, this is the first episode of this podcast, so we're basically going to take some time here to introduce ourselves, what it is that we like, what it is that we're all about, and yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and just get right into it.
Let's do this. You want to do this?
Let's just get right into it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
First episode. Here we go.
First episode. Here we go.
Okay.
Why don't you go first, Garrett?
I'll kick
you're
it
so
off.
eager.
I'll kick it
I'm
off.
really excited about this.
I'll kick it off. It's fine. As I said, my name is Garrett. I don't know if I want to give my last name. I'll give people my address though if they want it.
His last name is Selleck.
Yes, Garrett Selleck.
His father's Tom Selleck.
But no. I joined this podcast because I wanted to share my nerdness with everyone in the nerd world out there. But I am a lover of Marvel Comics. That is my thing. Also, Ninja Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I am a huge fan of. And I like
the
movies.
Michael Bay version.
Oh, yeah, the Michael Bay version that's coming out. It's going to be my favorite.
You and millions of others.
Oh, my God, I can't wait. Yeah, Ninja Turtles, Marvel Comics, lots of movies, stellar TV shows. But I am not a recent nerd. I'm not part of the new fad, how it's cool to be a nerd. And I didn't want to just...
Right.
I didn't want to just join this nerd world because I thought it was cool.
I feel different about that.
Do you?
I feel that I've gotten older, and now that I just don't care about what anyone thinks anymore, that I've rejoined it in full force.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of agree with that myself.
I think we all grew up with, action figures.
Yeah.
And we all had comics. I can't say that I read every comic I got.
Hell no.
I think I bought them for the pictures because they were cool-ass covers. I was like,
I definitely had an Real Monsters comic growing up when I was a kid, and I really wish I held on to it because I'm pretty sure it'd be worth it.
I still have all my old comics. And
that's awesome.
I keep telling myself I want to go back and read some of them because I actually do read them now.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, we all grew up on this kind of stuff, and I mean, I think big thing for me was like action figures and Legos and like cartoon movies, and I fell out for a while when I got older into high school, and I think that took away from because when you're in high school, you like worry about the impressions you're gonna make on people and like who you want to be friends with.
You became cooler, kind of.
Yeah. You want to be. You don't want to be the nerd in high school, so. I kind of fell off for a while. Not that I didn't like that stuff still, but I found myself get more into the nerd stuff when I worked at a tattoo shop. And
when I worked at tattoo shop.
Yeah, I worked at a tattoo shop, and I was the counter guy. And one of my tattoo artists was reading comics at the time, and he let me borrow some, and that honestly sparked me getting back into comics, and like to this day, I mean that was like 4 or 5 years ago, literally got me back into like the nerd world. I mean in the past 6 years being a nerd, like I said, is gotten a lot bigger. It's like with Comic-Cons,
it's kind of the fab now.
Yeah, it is. It's like Comic-Con is not that it wasn't huge before, but like
now it's
a worldwide. Like everybody, if you say Comic-Con, they know what it is,
and it sells out in like a minute.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah. I mean, tickets for New York's already, the 4-day and the VIPs are sold out. So it's like,
and the children.
Yeah, the Sunday ticket children.
Let's not forget the children.
Sunday.
Sunday.
But I mean, yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it, I guess it comes with getting older. Like you're not ashamed like to be a nerd. Like you do feel like, all right, like I like this. It's like
you can be a lot more vocal about
You're
it.
comfortable with who you are now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I wasn't comfortable before, but like
You're
literally
just too old to care.
You
what
have
anyone
no
thinks.
confidence.
I mean, that goes with it. Is you're too old to care, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I started collecting action figures again. I've always been a collector growing up, so I think that really influenced me in my nerddom too. Is because like I started collecting action figures again, started reading comics again. So like that was like a
when you were a kid, that all happened pretty much by accident.
By accident,
like,
right? Because you like something,
you
then
had
wanted,
something, you wanted it. Mom, Dad, I want that action
and then you want
figure.
more of it, more of it,
and then
more
I
of
want
it,
more. And then now it's just sitting. Who the fuck knows where?
Well, yeah, it's in my parents' attic. But my comics are at my
it's still
apartment,
around.
But no, but I think like it's. I came, I was, I guess, a little nerd when I just never knew it, until I started reading comics again. I was like, man, I love this, and then I got all my Marvel tattoos, and I was just like, then the whole world of, this, because like ever since Iron Man 1 came out, that was honestly like a big, like you can say like obviously the X-Men movies and like the Spider-Man movies, like.
They did well enough, but
the
definitely
X-Men
the Iron Man
movies
movie
kind of turned me away. The first ones,
Yeah.
only
But,
because
like,
I
that's what I'm
loved
saying,
X-Men so much growing up, and I was just like, these kind of suck
Right.
to a point.
Because they were wearing
the first X-Men movie, which was in development for a decade and built my anticipation, and then it comes out, and the effects were dated, and they were wearing black leather.
That's what I was gonna say. The black leather.
Yeah,
because
it was disappointing.
They
to
all
say the
walked
least.
out
and
of
then
Hot
the
Topic
Last
and
Stand,
jumped in front of a
still
fucking
haven't recovered
camera,
from the Last
basically.
Stand.
Yeah, it was just like it wasn't, it wasn't those superheroes that you grew up liking. They
Right.
didn't have all the cool ass fucking like suits and like but it was but that's why I say Iron Man, because the Spider-Man movies were good. Obviously, no one's a fan of the third one. They totally screwed up. The best villain of all time. With
If you
Venom.
get back and watch them now, they're like the X-Men movies, where they're not as they're not as great.
They're not
as you
nearly as
remember
fun, especially
when they first
since
came out.
Yeah.
The Green Goblin nowadays, if Sam Raimi came out and put out the bullshit Power Ranger Green Goblin nowadays with all the forums and all the commentaries and the internet trolls that exist today, that would not have flown. That would have been a disaster on Michael Bay.
His ass would have been booted a long time ago.
Exactly. Yeah. So when I say the Iron Man movie, like it literally, I think personally, like brought a level of like just craziness to this whole comics nerd world that like no one had either like ever literally seen, or like, and that just sparked, because it was such a big movie to fans that weren't even comic book fans.
Yeah,
so
$500 million at the box office.
It just sparked it, and then once that takes off, then there's Thor, then there's like
that was the first step towards the Marvel cinematic universe, and it just exploded.
Exactly.
Was there a tag at the end of Iron Man? I can't remember.
The first one led up to the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, when Robert.
No, it was at the end of the Incredible Hulk that Robert.
Robert
Downey
came in. The end of the first one was Samuel L.
Man.
Jackson coming in, and
my bad.
That's when you knew there was going to be an Avengers movie later on down the road, and I think every nerd or more, at least Marvel fan, just an instant boner over that.
I hadn't even been a Marvel fan for a while when that movie came out, and it completely reignited that.
That's what I'm saying. So like for people that like, again, even me, like I mean, I was back into it, but that was literally like a spark for me. Just like ignited, like, damn, like this is awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited about this.
And it just got better and better and better.
It's only gotten better. So, all right, well, enough about me.
Garrett, shut up.
That's me. That's who I am.
All right, then. Well, hi, Internet. My name's Bob. I guess I always call myself a Star Wars nerd, but it's Star Wars that kind of brought me into nerddom, really. Now I'm just a hardcore movie buff. I see everything, and movies are my thing. We just did a short film of our own. 16 West Studios on Facebook. Check it out.
Which was fantastic,
That's
by the
a
way.
shameless plug, as we call it in the industry.
I think that's what they call it.
In the industry. This guy's a hotshot. I like it.
But yeah, Star Wars brought me into, nerddom and movies. And from there, we got into TV and all the great TV shows that are on nowadays. I think it's a new era for television. All the big stars want to be on TV now. Fargo just wrapped up last night, which was an amazing series. But once I got into Star Wars, like Garrett was just talking about, it was not the coolest thing to be a part of. In middle school, I took a lot of heat for that, and so you kind of wind up covering it up. Then you go to buy a Star Wars novel at Barnes and Noble, and God forbid you see someone from school like walking around in the aisle, which then you hide or pretend. I once pretended I was buying a book from my cousin because I was holding Star Wars Invincible in my hand and I didn't want to get caught with it. But now that we're older, you do put all that behind you and you figure out that it's worth, celebrating what you like and what you
Right.
love.
Yeah.
And this stuff we're all passionate about. And particularly with me, it's movies and any kind of, cinematic thing. It just gets me going. And Garrett's kind of got me into comic books recently, and they've been, the new Thor comic book is really impressive.
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's my story.
Just went from 6 to midnight.
Underneath the table, we can't see it yet. But
Okay.
All right. Well, after listening to you guys talk, I have no idea why I'm here because I am just not worthy of
Oh,
the
come on.
nerd
You
tag.
are so worthy. She is worthy.
But I'm Katarina, K for short. I'm more of a gamer, but I know that majority of you are into like retro games and things like that. But I'm more of the next generation, current generation, story-driven,
That modern
long-
stuff.
Yeah,
That's the kind of stuff I'm into now.
I'm a fan
Yeah,
of
they
it.
had stories
you know?
back then too.
Final
Zelda.
Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
hello.
Zelda was- yeah.
Hello.
Okay,
Final
I never
Fantasy.
played Zelda. Final
Kirby,
Fantasy 7,
The
obviously,
pink
that's one of my
puffball,
favorite
I mean, come
games.
on.
But I am interested in exploring, Thor and Iron Man, all the movies. I've seen Iron Man 1 and I really liked it. I also do like a lot of blogging about games. They're mostly Naughty Dog games, so I blog about Uncharted and The Last of Us, but they're definitely both of my favorite, well, one of my favorite games each. And, I'm definitely more of a gamer than a comic book.
Right,
and-
but that's what makes this group, I think, so
Exactly.
awesome, is that there's something different about all of us that
we
makes
can bring.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
we bring to the table.
And you can all teach me the
We
ways
can teach you
of
the ways you teach us.
the Avengers and Marvel and whatever else.
I will teach you. Bobby will teach you the Force.
yeah, the ways of the
Teach you
Force.
all the Force tricks.
All the Force tricks.
Jedi mind games.
No, that's dirty.
How about you, Z, the host?
Hey, I'm Z. Hi.
Oh, hey.
No, really, going along with what pretty much everybody has been saying, growing up as a kid, I definitely read a lot of comics, but they were really random. There was never anything that was in order, ever. In fact, they were so random that, like I said before, I remember getting like an Odd Real Monsters comic book and different things like that, and I was like, this is pretty cool, it's like, the thing I like about comics so much is that like it's, even though the pictures are right there in front of you, you like your imagination still goes wild, and it's like you're still
Fill in the
picturing it
blanks
happening.
between frames.
Yeah.
It's like a moving picture that you just start like creating in your
you
head.
immerse
It's
yourself
awesome.
in it, and you
Yeah, like
picture
well
yourself in
before.
that, yeah.
You're creating your own movie inside of your head. It's awesome.
boom.
And then also going along with what Bobby was saying earlier, I am definitely a huge movie fan too. Star Wars was one. I mean, I grew up watching so many movies that it's
Yeah, that was a huge part of it for me too.
I
Like, it
loved
was-
watching all like just so many movies. Like
Yeah.
Star Wars was one. I mean I'm pretty sure I still have in my parents' house VHS copies
Oh, yeah.
of Star Wars.
I have the
when
trilogy.
it played
We all
on
do.
TV like,
Yeah,
with the
I have
commercials.
All recorded off TV. That's,
Oh yeah, with the commercials.
Can I share this story with you real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So my parents, when they first showed me Star Wars, they recorded it off of TV on like ABC or whatever it was playing on.
Yeah.
So, I'd
NBC.
stay up and I'd watch it as late as I could, and then it would be my bedtime. So they'd put me to bed, and I would get to watch the end of the movie that was on the night before going into the next one. And they played all three back to back to back on
That's awesome.
consecutive nights. So
Very nice.
I stayed up and watched A New Hope and got through the end of it the next day, started watching Empire Strikes Back, had to go to bed. And I was so jazzed about Empire Strikes Back. That
So
the next
jazzed.
day-
That might be my favorite one of the,
Right?
of the original three.
Yes.
it's got to be. And so the next day,
Empire Strikes Back.
I didn't
yeah.
I didn't want to watch the end of Empire Strikes Back. I wanted to just dive right into Return of the Jedi and catch
Aw.
the end the next day. And
Yeah.
my father told me, and I'm 6 years old and I can remember this like it was yesterday. My father was telling me, you don't want to do that. Finish the movie, watch Return of the Jedi in its entirety tomorrow. And I would not have it. So I start watching Return of the Jedi, and all of a sudden Vader's Luke's father, and I was just like, what
What happened?
So
Spoiler alert.
I never even got the classic reveal of
the
Vader
jaw-dropping
is Luke's
reveal.
father. That never happened for me.
Yeah.
So it, just a disappointing moment in my nerd.
Still a
fandom
fan,
at
though.
a
Still a
very
fan.
early age, but
I am so sorry about that.
I know
It's, I mean,
irreversible.
it
glad you're
really,
not
it's not something you
you're
just
not
go back
scarred
and
too bad.
relive.
If I had
Yeah.
my own TARDIS, I'd go back to when
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
6 years old and say, "Now, Bob,
Lithin.
patience
up.
is a virtue." Sorry to interrupt you, but go ahead.
No, that was an awesome story because I know I just
Quality.
like that you also had VHS like recorded copies on ABC or NBC or whatever it was because I definitely still have them as well. But I mean, staying on the Star Wars subject, if you guys don't mind, there was this thing that I had read. Given the prequels are out now, we've all seen. Well, most of us, I'm sure, have seen the. Bobby, have you seen the prequels?
Of course.
Okay, Tony, I know you have as well. No, I had read this thing that I thought was really interesting in that, like, if you were to introduce Star Wars to somebody that I don't know how they wouldn't know what Star Wars is at this point because it's so huge, how to watch it, given the originals in the prequel. Have you heard about this? Huh?
I have the answer for you.
There you go. It's like you want. What? Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right,
If
well,
you know the answer.
Fill us
There's
in there,
actually,
Chief.
A great series of articles called Film Nerd 2.0 by a guy named Drew McWeeny over at hitfix.com.
That's a fun name.
Say the last name again.
It is a
He
fun
said
name.
What was his last name? I didn't get that.
His last name is McWeeny.
That's
McWeenie.
that's on the dollar menu.
I was just gonna say, like, can you go to?
Right.
Is it like a hot dog at McDonald's you can order?
Well, he
I'll
used,
take
he
fries
used
with
to
that.
write under the name Moriarty at Ain't It Cool News, but he moved over
That's
to
better.
and start. He
That's very cool.
helped found hitfix.com, I believe,
Oh.
and he started
okay.
a series of articles called Film Nerd 2.0, and it's about his sons now. I think they were 6 and 3 at the time that he wrote the articles, and it was about him starting to bring them into the world of nerddom. And
This might have been the
showing
same
them
article
movies.
I might have read.
It might
too,
have been.
yeah.
And he wrote 6 different articles about the Star Wars movies and how he was going to show them to him or to his kids. And he started off with A New Hope, and then he went to Empire, and then he took a break and went back to the prequels. And he did episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then finished with Jedi.
Yeah.
And that seems, you figure you got to either do the whole prequel trilogy or the whole, original trilogy. And he broke it down why he did that.
Yeah.
And his reasoning was because you want to get to that point where Luke is the son of Darth Vader, and then everyone wants to know how did that happen, and especially now because kids watch the Clone Wars series, so they know Anakin Skywalker is Luke's father, and then they hear Vader is the father of Luke, and they want to know how did that happen? How did he get to that point? So then you go back, you watch the 3, and then you put on Return of the Jedi, and you see how he gets redeemed by his son, and it all comes full circle. And I thought that was I never thought about that.
I never
before,
would have thought
it
about
was
that
a
either.
fantastic way to go about watching those movies in sequence. I talked to my girlfriend and was like, I can't wait to have a son just so we can
to do this.
just so I can do this. Like, let's have a kid tomorrow.
Get to work.
Yeah, basically.
Come on.
No, I really loved the way that he introduced it like that because it acted as the prequels being almost like a montage, like a going back, like a Rocky montage.
Right.
Go back,
Yeah,
except it's 9 hours long, And but
Exactly.
I thought
9
that was really cool.
hours.
I kind of want to watch it that way. Sometime
I
really
get that,
soon.
yeah, I
you
Those
know?
articles are actually also what made me watch the Clone Wars series. And I'm only on.
I do need to watch that,
I'm
too.
on season 2 now, and
How
there are more Star Wars moments in the first episode
Yeah.
than in the whole Phantom Menace. But it also gives you
That speaks volumes.
It puts the prequels in perspective, though. I
Right.
think it brings more value to the prequels, even though I didn't dislike them in the first place. I really enjoyed the prequels.
We could have an entire podcast on just
I feel like
discussing
we're
the prequels.
hijacking.
Probably,
I feel like we're hijacking this and turning it into a Star Wars podcast.
right. Yeah. We could just do that for ourselves. Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a side project.
Yeah. So, Tony, why don't we move on to you?
I'm Tony.
That's Tony.
Last but not least, obviously.
And that's
know.
the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Fuck you.
All right. Thanks.
I don't know where it began. I know when I was younger, I do remember loving the Ninja Turtles and the X-Men cartoon. I think that
Booyah.
that
Badass
might have really
cartoons.
started it. I started collecting the X-Men cards. I think I still have a binder of it somewhere.
Oh my god! Speaking of, I'm gonna go off. and
That's fine.
interrupt you. I have like 600 Marvel cards. The 94 flares.
Yeah,
The flare series.
I have most of the. I think I have almost
That
the
was really
entire
hot.
X-Men ones.
No, but that was one of my, like I was saying, that's like one of my things. Like I like to collect. I just could not stop collecting Marvel cards.
Oh yeah, I
I
wanted all
literally
the
have
X-Men
like
cards.
600 of them.
That's awesome.
100.
See, I used to do that with DVDs. I have like 700 DVDs.
But continue.
Anyway.
Sorry.
So
There you go.
I did love the X-Men for a while. I think it did as I grew older, as everyone else said. I kind of tried to be cooler, so I wasn't really into all that as much. Although, I mean, I did go to middle school with Z and a few other friends of ours, and I mean, I think everyone there was just a nerd because there really wasn't that many people in our school to begin with.
There really wasn't. There weren't
Just
that many.
yeah.
Weren't that many children?
I think our entire class had like 30 people.
About 30. Yeah. I mean,
My middle school wasn't that big. That's how big mine was.
Yeah, I had 73.
I think I had 36, 43, yeah, something like that.
how many? did
And
you
one
have?
brilliant kid who
Well,
sold
okay, so in
Pokemon.
6th grade, I went to a public middle school, which was a lot of people. And then in 7th and 8th grade, I went to a private one.
I was private
And
all the way through.
Yeah.
So we had really small classes, too.
We're pretty used to that.
Oh yeah, I went to
think.
private school first to 12th grade. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hit high school. I was a huge nerd in high school. I mean, basically just people called me a nerd, even though I tried not to be into nerdy things as much.
Yeah, but look at you.
Right? I got
Look
into
at you
skateboarding
now.
for a while. I do love skateboarding.
I'm getting paper.
And then after that, I kind of stopped caring somewhat. I started collecting some comics again here and there. Nothing really too serious. A couple little toys and shit.
All right.
And then I think it was a couple years ago I started getting more into comics with Z here. We started going to the comic book store all the time and
And
buying
my comic
comics.
book, like, kind of love or re-love, whatever you want to say, it began with Garrett, too. Like, when I met him intimately in the back of a TGI Fridays.
Okay.
And, no.
Speaking of love,
True love, baby.
I love true love.
It was great.
It was pretty fantastic. Thank you again. I'll give you.
Never forget it.
I still owe you 20.
did
But
they give you
I
a
haven't
free
forgot.
brownie sundae?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Keep on rolling, baby.
Caramel sauce, baby.
Anywho,
We're gonna have Leon Phelps on next
I
week.
hope so.
He's
Please,
our
God.
guest next week.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Timmy.
So I got back into some comic collecting. I've always been into video games from day one, from Nintendo to basically every system up until now.
True that.
I used to play the Little Mermaid game on the regular Nintendo.
It was a quality game.
NES, the
Was
original.
it killer? Just
Sega Genesis.
Actually, it was a great game, you guys.
The Ninja Turtles had an awesome game. 2 awesome games,
Yeah.
actually.
Turtles in Time was one of
Turtles
the
in
greatest games
Time.
I've ever played in my entire life.
I
It
wish-
was an awesome one.
well, yeah.
I wish they would
kids
bring
ni-
that back
kids these days
for
need to
new
witness
generation.
that. It was
Yeah.
on Xbox Live for a while, but they only had like 6 levels.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not fair.
It
I
wasn't the
actually
whole game.
failed my freshman year of college because we bought a Super Nintendo and a lot of pot, and we would play Turtles in Time. I mean, read the Guinness Book of World Records had a hard mode record for like 26 minutes, or if you could beat Turtles in
For that
Time in
game?
26 minutes.
Wow.
And we beat that shit in like 24 minutes.
But there was no one there to
Well, we
document
never,
it.
we didn't take a
They
They
picture
were
or
all
anything.
high as shit.
Yeah, I
Okay.
bet you did it.
And we might have completely made up the fact that there was
Yeah.
even a record.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, to be honest with you, because, like I
Yeah.
said, a lot of pot involved.
Probably
But
actually took 3 hours. You were just so
You
high.
do now that 23 turn into hours, not minutes.
Yeah.
could have been hours.
It could have actually been hours the entire
Those were
time.
my younger and more formidable years.
So, I was always into anime for a while too. Like me and
Yeah,
Z
I
and our
was
friend
too.
Spencer were real big into Dragon Ball Z, and I got into
Still
other
am.
I
anime
dabbled.
from there.
I dabbled in that. I just it never carried over. It just like it never stuck with me. I enjoyed Dragon Ball Z. I thought it was really
Oh,
badass,
it's
but like
amazing.
it never stuck. Like 'cause it was just other stuff that stuck. But like,
Yeah, I kind of like
yeah.
dropped off from anime, but like recently there's a whole lot of good like anime stuff
even that's
coming out
gotten bigger.
now.
I don't even follow it, but
Is
I know it's
Attack
gotten
on
huge.
Titan anime?
I just started watching that, and yes,
that,
it
that
is.
definitely falls.
Yeah,
under
my
it.
girlfriend's sister recommended because she's a huge nerd too. She just graduated high school and we went down there, North Carolina, to see her graduate, and she said Attack on Titan is
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's what everybody's been saying. I've watched like 3 episodes so far, but like that and Sword Art Online I watched recently were amazing.
I've only seen one episode of an anime ever, and it was like about a bike race. And I just remember
What? Tell us more.
Anime is the
honestly
strangest
all I
thing.
remember. And this guy just was in a bike race, and I really liked the episode, but this was also like 7 years ago.
A lot of bike
So
racing in
another-
anime, a lot of monster porn.
Yeah.
Way too much.
You can go either way with that.
That's
If
actually the
tentacle
popular
penetration
section
is
on
for
Netflix.
you. Oh yeah, tentacle
Speaking
penetration.
of going either way, recently
God.
somebody
Where's he going with this?
I don't know how somebody got me to watch it, but there's this. It's probably the gayest, straightest anime I've ever seen.
okay.
It's basically like softcore gay anime porn. It's about a swim
Nice.
team.
Oh.
It's called Free Iwatabi Swim Club.
Because I'm free.
It's about a bunch of high school kids swimming, and they're just in like the tiniest speedos, and it's just like they all have muscles and ripped, and their bodies are clean in the light. And I have no idea why I watched the whole thing, but I love it for some unknown reason.
It's just one of those things you just like, why am I watching
Yeah.
this?
But
Let me
it's
ask you a question.
fantastic.
But that's what
Is
anime
it because of the tiny speedos?
It may be.
Have
I
you
wish I
have
had
you
my
actually
own.
watched an episode and say, why do I like this? And then write down, these are the reasons why I like this.
And it's all just speedos repeatedly on the
I'm
page.
It's just one word, it just says speedos.
It's
and that's
basically
it.
exactly what you described to us. It's tiny
Yeah.
speedos, lots of muscles,
Zero
ripped men.
storyline,
Nailed it.
hundreds of speedos.
Pros,
Men.
cons. It's just all pros. It says speedos.
It's speedos,
Muscles.
speedos, and speedos.
That's all
Wet
it is.
Swimming.
bodies.
Yeah.
Yes, wet bodies everywhere.
It
Men.
sounds like something
Water.
Kay should be watching.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, can you introduce her to this?
Anyway,
There's
I
expectations.
guess to finish this off, I want to say it was about a year ago is when I really stopped caring about what people thought, and I was just like, I'm just gonna become the biggest nerd
There
I
you go.
possibly can.
That's what I love about it.
I went
Yeah.
out and I hadn't played Magic since 7th grade. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy cards, and
Oh
I've started
my.
playing. I've been playing a lot recently. Well, I mean, since the move, I haven't been able to play much, but
Yeah.
plan to play a lot more.
I used to play that when I was little too. I just again,
We-
it's one
we
of those
all
things
did.
that never.
I
I collected
love
the
playing
cards. I
Magic.
never played it.
I did. I was again.
I played the
I
Pokemon
collected them
card
just
game.
Oh, yeah,
collected
I
them
ju-
for the sake of
I was
collecting
just
them,
a seriously just
I went to
collector.
Pokemon card tournaments in Dundalk.
Yeah, I did
loved
that.
it.
I've
Yeah.
got binders of Magic cards. I've
Yeah.
never actually
You can
played
give
the
them to me
game.
if you
I played.
like.
I still have them in the
Just
closet
give
at
them-
my
just
parents'
give them to
house
Tony.
somewhere.
If I didn't
like
give them to me, I'll
worth
take
hundreds
them.
of dollars.
He's like,
Just give 'em.
treasure.
Just give them to me.
I mean, if one's worth a good $10,000, I'll let you know.
I'll give you
And-
$20.
The Black
Like
Lotus.
$100. Yeah, if you got a
I
Black
knew a guy that
Lotus.
had the Black Lotus back
I
in the day. Bought it
actually
from the
saw
store.
one recently on eBay. It was like completely brand new, like in one of those hard cases. $10,000 for that card.
That is unbelievable.
10 grand.
Name one Pokemon card
Mother.
that is that much.
Charizard? No.
No, you can't say
Arcana.
that. You
I'll
can't
say
say the original
The
Charizard.
Japanese version of Arcuna. I have the original Charizard. Is it really worth that
Yeah,
much?
no,
I saw
not at all.
Someone on eBay today was like, "Sell your old toys," and sent me a Snapchat that was like an old Tamagotchi for like $700.
I saw that.
but
too.
it was the buy it
I
now
saw no,
price.
no. He's right. I saw that link. I think
It was
it
on
might
BuzzFeed.
have been on Reddit. It was on somewhere on BuzzFeed. Yeah,
Yeah.
And it had like a list of like 20, and actually the Charizard card was one of them.
It
That was like
your
hundreds.
Old, yeah, it was your old moon
Tamagotchis.
shoes and
Oh my God,
Tamagotchis.
it was
and-
unreal
Well,
the
that's the
amount of
thing.
shit.
Tamagotchis
stupid
are like
play school
they
roller
were still
skates.
out. Like
Yeah.
they're still out.
Yeah, no,
Like, or
that's
they're around. Like so, and now that there's mobile phones, there's like apps for Tamagotchis.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
Wait, is there really an app for Tamagotchi?
Oh, I'm sure
All
there
right, I'm
is.
gonna go. I'll be right back.
But back on
There's
the
an app for
Pokemon
that.
cards, do you remember when Burger King had the kids' meals and you would get the Pokeballs and
Yeah.
inside they would have the
Yes.
gold cards?
Yeah.
We used to get so many
Absolutely.
of those. They were awesome.
I still have Mew somewhere sitting around.
I knew a
All the
kid-
balls broke.
Kid showed up at
'Cause
my.
I
He was
threw
like
him like I
4
was
years
Ash
younger than
Ketchum.
us. My Nido King card vanished into thin air. Saw this
Whoa.
kid about 10 years later at a
Thief.
bar, and he's like, "Remember me? We used to hang out when we were kids. My mom used to like bring me to your house." And 10 years later, I was like, "You stole my Nido King card."
He had it in his wallet that whole
I don't
time.
recall doing that. I was like, "Yeah, I know."
yeah,
You
you're
did.
correct. It was cute.
he had it in his wallet.
And you, yeah, you broke a bottle
So I
over
kicked
his
his
head.
ass in the parking lot. It was in his glove compartment.
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
yeah, I haven't really been too into Marvel. I mean, I've loved X-Men forever, but I haven't really got a lot into like the other movies.
I
I've
can
seen
help
a
you.
couple of
It's
them.
yeah, we can
Again,
help
we're
you
all
out with
here.
that.
We're all here for each
I
other.
definitely want to
mean,
watch all
yes.
of them. I just
But yeah,
haven't got
it's-
around to it.
Take my hand.
But I
I'll
think
show
we
you
all
the way.
like. I think we've all come from like you said, like
Yeah.
Magic cards, like Pokemon cards.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we all come from like
That's the
movies.
start. Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like that's
Yeah.
where it all started. Like not that
Definitely video games for me too.
not that
Oh,
other
yeah.
people
Going
that
back
I
to
don't
it.
know
All the
didn't
way.
do all that stuff. But it's
Yeah.
like obviously the inner nerds was
Yeah,
always
I mean,
with us. You
it's-
know, it's
yeah.
like
It all falls under the same category of
Yeah.
that, you know, and it's like we said earlier, it's just worldwide now. I think it's
Yeah.
not that it's
it's-
popular. It's,
It's
just
basically
like
if
one
there's
of
cool magical stuff going on, we're gonna
Yeah.
like it.
I mean, and I think
throw
that's
in
I
some
think that's
fantasy
where
elements,
I
and that's
mean,
it.
and I think
Yeah.
that's where like a lot of like popular like TV shows are now, you know, and and books, like even like the books becoming TV shows and movies, everything is just basically nerd.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like even some of like the some big time movies that are coming out. It's got a little bit of that nerd influence in
Right.
it.
Very good
Space
time to be a
or something
nerd
like
these
that.
Yeah,
days.
it's just it's blown up literally. It's and
Feels
the
good.
people that like I said, we're we've always had that. I think all of us have always had that inner nerd. It's just
Oh yeah.
And not to
the
mention
people
that,
that jump on the bandwagon.
all the old things that we used to love, and X-Men comics and all that stuff, and now it's becoming, they're taking some of those things that we loved so much, like Days of Future Past, and next they're going to do X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
The Age of Apocalypse was like my favorite X-Men storyline ever, and now we're going to actually
See it.
Yeah, it's
not
insane.
the real storyline, like they changed Futures Past a lot, but now we're actually going to get to see Age of Apocalypse
Right.
on screen and what that looks like
Right,
with
exactly.
actors, and that's just so freaking cool.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, the first announcement of Avengers. I mean, I nothing could have been better. I mean, it's sitting in that theater when you're about to see these superheroes on screen all together.
Yeah.
I remember the
That
exact
was
moment
just-
I climaxed seeing the Avengers for the first time.
I think we can all agree.
Me and
Well,
Garrett
no,
were sitting right next to each other,
Yeah.
climaxing
I
at the
had
exact
my,
same time. Yeah.
my
We both did.
my Avengers Iron Man.
Yeah,
gear
our
on.
little arc reactor.
What did you told me, Bobby? Yours was when Captain America jumps down with the shield, right?
It was
And
when Iron Man shoots his his beam off of Cap's shield, and he
Just
arcs
rotates it.
into all the different Chitauri, and
There were
I came.
there were there were
And
many
just like that.
There were many moments that we could say that with the
Grabbed my
Hulk,
crotch
yeah.
and went,
Hulk
"Ooh!"
throwing, Hulk throwing Loki,
Loki around like a rag doll
you can
and,
say
and
that-
everything. Yeah.
I didn't know that men could have multiple orgasms until that movie.
Who knew?
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
I'm
think we
excited
all
for,
we all come from the same spot.
The new one.
The
that
what?
one.
Oh
I want-
yeah.
Yeah, I want Cable to come. That's
Oh,
what I'm
yeah,
real excited
yeah.
for.
I think like going along like with the movies, like comic books, obviously, for the last 10, 15 years, that's pretty much just destroyed in the box office as far as
Oh yeah.
movies goes. But like now it's like and this is what I'm kind of starting to get excited for is like certain announcements for like video game depictions in movies.
Right.
Like they did the whole the Battleship thing, and that was obviously a board game, but like, but I think it's cool that like, they saw like, okay, comics, movies, that works.
Right,
That
exactly.
works
That's- yeah.
tremendously well. Let's get into video games. And I remember like her and I have like been seeing stuff about like an Uncharted movie, like the
Yeah.
possibility of a Last of Us movie one day, which I would
That would
love
be
to
amazing.
absolutely.
Well, now they're
that would be
actually
amazing.
throwing enough money at them and talent to
Yeah.
create. Because I mean, there were video game movies that got Mario Brothers and Tomb Raider, and they were garbage. But now they're throwing.
I love
money
that
at
Mario
I
movie.
honestly really did enjoy
The Mario
Mario
Brothers
Brothers
movie
movie.
was
I mean, it was
amazing.
one of my
Rest in
favorite
peace,
movies, but
Bob.
I was.
I mean,
But
when you're
it also depends on who writes it. Like the people that wrote the Last of Us game are writing the Last of Us movie, so that's
helps,
a
yeah,
guarantee
exactly.
right there.
So
I mean,
when that's if you go about it right, then it's going to be
Yeah,
then
creative,
it's
giving
gonna be-
creative license to Naughty Dog to make that movie.
I mean, they're
what
good
are they
at
gonna
what
do?
they
Come up with a
do.
bad thing? Like Naughty Dog hasn't made a bad game since Crash Bandicoot came out.
And there's a good throwback right there too. I really enjoyed those. So I think that about wraps it up, guys. Thank you so much for participating in this, Bob, Kay,
Yeah, man.
Garrett,
fantastic.
Tony. This was a lot of fun.
loving it. Like
Um,
McDonald's.
Can't wait to do it. Yeah, McWeenie.
I was just about to
Yeah,
say
we should
that.
get him.
That's
we should
my favorite
try
part.
to get him on here.
Yeah, Bob. See if you can get a hold of McWeenie through his son,
I'll get a hold of him through Tashi.
to Tashi, his son Tashi.
I'll go to his elementary school and just wait in the hallway till he comes out of class, grab him,
There you go.
say like, "Where's your dad?" And
We need him. We need McWeenie.
Give me the McWeenie.
Give me the McWeenie through the drive-through. Like, give me a McWeenie. No, but this was definitely a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys participating and everybody listening. We're definitely gonna be doing this again, trying to keep it a weekly podcast. Look for us on Facebook soon. We'll be pretty much posting everything on there. If you guys have
SpaZcast
any questions,
on Facebook.
Yeah,
SpaZcast on Facebook.
comments, feedback.
Yeah,
We'll
Yeah,
want to hear it
topics
all.
you want to talk
Questions.
about or hear us talk about, give us questions, give us feedback. We'd love to hear it.
yep.
Want to
So-
know what we're wearing? I'll
What,
tell
Yeah.
what we're wearing, what we're not wearing.
We'll probably do like an exclusive video version too.
I would.
point?
Yeah,
At some
we'll
point.
definitely do that too. That would be a lot of
See
fun.
the goods. See what
see
we look
the
like.
goods. Yeah.
Don't just hear the voice. See how sexy.
Looking's for free. Touching's gonna cost you something.
Yeah.
And on that note, all right. Thanks a lot, guys. See you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Love you.
Thanks, guys.